Tanskalle se puhelin.
Хорошо. Ну, до встречи в Москве.
Aloja. Tämä on 9491253886.
Mä käytin sitä sanaa jossain lehtiartikkelissa. Ja mulle soitti Mobiran juristi ja sanoi, että mä oon rikkonut nyt heidän tämmöistä rekisteröimänsä tuotemerkkiä tai käyttänyt sitä niin kuin lainvastaisesti, että he ovat rekisteröimässä sanaa kännykkä omaan käyttöönsä. Ja minä sitten hetken aikaa olin hämilläni, että onko mä nyt paha rikollinen, kun mä olen käyttänyt sanaa kännykkää, ja sanoin hänelle, että mun mielestä tämä sana on ollut meillä jo käytössä. Lopputulos oli kuitenkin se, että kännykkä tuli yleiseen käyttöön eikä Mobiran tai tulevan Nokian suojatuksi tuotemerkiksi.
Eskos.
Diane Sawyer asked US Director of National Intelligence James Clapper how serious was the London issue and were there implications for America. After a long pause, Mr. Clapper replied, "London?" Ms. Sawyer brought up Mr. Clapper's apparent ignorance of these developments later in the interview, saying she was a little surprised he didn't know about the arrest. The intelligence chief replied, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't." His office issued a statement insisting the question about this specific news development was ambiguous. Mr. Clapper is tasked with giving President Obama daily briefings on timely intelligence assessments. Problems caused by widespread flooding have forced the evacuation of Gascoyne Junction, about 170 kilometres east of Carnarvon in Western Australia. Jade McMillan reports.
As floodwaters recede in the town, a new set of problems has arisen. Gascoyne Junction's water supply has been cut off by flood damage and isn't expected to be restored for several weeks. With temperatures tipped to rise, there are also fears of health issues caused by overflowing septic tanks and mosquitoes. The chief executive of the Shire of Upper Gascoyne, Paul Rawlings, says at least 20 residents will be evacuated to Carnarvon today.
It's up to the authorities out there to determine where they will go from there.
He says it's not yet clear when people will be allowed to return to Gascoyne Junction.
Scores of villagers on a remote Japanese island chain in the Pacific have scrambled for higher ground after a major 7.4 magnitude offshore quake sparked a tsunami alert. The tsunami alert was later downgraded and all warnings were lifted 5 hours after the quake hit near the islands some 1,000 kilometres south of Tokyo. No injuries or damage were reported. The seabed tremor struck during the early morning local time, jolting people out of bed as loudspeakers blared a warning across the islands. The quake hit at a shallow depth of 14 kilometres and was followed by a series of aftershocks. The Ogasawara chain, made up of more than 30 subtropical and tropical islands, is some 240 kilometres north of Iwo Jima. You're listening to Radio Australia. Time now for more news from Australia. Sailors in the Sydney to Hobart yacht race aren't expecting to break any records this year, with the Weather Bureau forecasting a strong headwind. 29 yachts are set to sail out of Sydney Harbour on Boxing Day. The Weather Bureau predicts they'll be heading into winds blowing from the south and west-southwest. Ian Burns from this year's favourite, Wild Oats 2, says it'll be a demanding race.
For us, it won't be a